The great marketing myth that we operate under right now is that marketing is all about volume. And if you believe that, then the natural extension of that belief says when times get tough and primary demand starts to fall off, we should do anything we can in order to hold on to that volume. Indeed, anything we can to try and get more and more volume. Let me show you why that is a myth and a fallacy. For the average North American business, if I take a product designed to sell for $1, and I reduce the price of that product by one lousy penny, 1 lousy percent, the moment I do that for the average North American business, I experience an erosion of profitability somewhere in the order of 11%. Think about that for a moment. For the average North American business, every time I reduce my variable costs of operation by 1%, I only get a 7.8% lift in profitability. And if you do that math, what it tells you is this. Every time I reduce price by 1%, I need to reduce my costs by about 1.4% just to stay even with where I started. Every time I cut price by 1%, I need to sell about 3.4% more volume just to stay even with where I started. And if you consider that Canada is now, once we get away from the resource sector, largely a service economy. It is not as much a manufacturing economy as it used to be. And you think about the typical service business having somewhere between 65 and 75% of costs are under the notion of human resource management. When costs have to fall, people have to go. A price cut is a stroke of a pen, right? That's the beauty of price as a competitive weapon. It's immediate. It requires no execution skill other than a willingness to make less money. Prices fall, margins are constrained, we reduce cost, but if we reduce cost in the wrong way, we destroy quality, prices fall, we're back where we started. What do we do now? Well, we can't raise price, we've just destroyed our quality. So what do? We cut price again, and again, and again, and again. We call this, technically, incremental product degradation. On the street, we call this efficiently going bankrupt. Welcome to Eaton's of Canada. There are 3 things I'd like to suggest we can do. Number 1, we can actually build share without sacrificing prices, and we can only do this in a down economy. Second thing we can do, we can find ways to reduce costs without destroying quality in the process. And third, and this is an important one, remember that value is not measured solely by price. We can give better value in ways much different than simply cutting price and giving the same quality. We can maintain price and give better quality at the same time. And when you start to create value by enhancing quality at existing prices instead of giving it to them in the form of lower price, now you create a whole host of marketing opportunities to become a more complete and total solution. So how can we build share without cutting price? What is there about recessionary times that provide us with this great opportunity? Well, there have been a number of studies on this, but the classic, the one everybody talks about, was in 1980 through 85. And those of you who can remember, the recession of 80 through 85 was a really nasty, nasty period of time. And over that period, what McGraw-Hill discovered was, when it split the universe of advertisers into 2 groups, those that continued to spend and those that cut back on spending, what they discovered was those that continued to spend outperformed the non-spenders both during the recession and in the first 2 years of recovery. In fact, over the 5-year period, they grew their sales and profits to the tune of 275%. By contrast, those that cut back experienced a decline in profitability during the recession and a meager 19% gain by the end of the 5-year period. Despite this, every survey we've looked at over the last year has said the same thing. 30 to 40% of companies will be reducing marketing expenditures primarily for the purpose of financing what they see as the inevitable price cuts they're going to make. How backwards can we be? But here's the good news and the opportunity. What this says is, if 30 to 40% are going to spend less money, then you can accelerate, increase your share of voice, not by spending more, but simply by spending what you've already been spending. Continue to work your plan. Consider what happens if you don't advertise. Your share of voice falls, you lose consumers to more aggressive competitors. Your prices come under fire, cost reduction becomes essential to retain margins, your quality is threatened, and we see that incremental product degradation.